Story 1, asking my boyfriend to send me the appraised price for the vase his son broke when I got it for much cheaper. So I, 23F, am an avid shopper and I love to get things at estate sales in my area. I buy all my designer goods, most vintage so it's amazing quality, from them and they're a hidden gem since barely any people even go to them in my area so I've been able to find amazing things. I bought so much jewelry slash clothes slash furniture from estate sales that I later get appraised for thousands while I spent 300 on it max. I've been able to find amazing things for a cheap price. I love to decorate my condo with the things I buy and make sure all my extremely expensive things are kept safe in a storage unit. Once I buy a house in the next upcoming years is when I will bring them out. I went to an estate sale this summer and bought mostly clothes, and also a beautiful vase. I bought it for $40 and it didn't look expensive to me, but another collector friend of mine saw it in the background of one of my stories and asked me where I got it from and said it looked like a vintage vase has been looking for. I went and got it appraised and come to find out it's worth $3,500. I made sure to get its authentication as well. I did leave it in my bookcase and decided to keep it as decoration even though I typically put expensive furniture slash decor in my storage unit. This week my boyfriend, 30M, came over and unexpectedly brought his 10-year-old son. He lives in NYC with his mom and he has him during the summer, but he came back to stay with my boyfriend for a bit since his mom just had a baby that was in the NICU. I didn't mind since his son is nice and has never damaged anything of mine. When his dad and I were cooking in the kitchen he was watching TV in my living room. All of a sudden I hear a crash and we run into my living room to see my new vase shattered. His son started crying saying he wanted to see a book I had in my bookshelf and saw the vase and thought it looked cool and touched it and it fell. His dad reassured him and saying it's okay he'll replace it and to make sure he's not hurt. I was upset but said it was okay and kept my composure. Later I spoke to him when he came over alone and we agreed he's to pay me back. He asked me how much it is and I said it's worth $3,500. He raised an eyebrow and asked how much I paid since he knows I always find things at the sales and I was honest and said $40. He told me he would pay me the $40 and I said absolutely not. Just because the woman that sold me it didn't know its true price doesn't mean I don't, and if I ever sold it I would charge its appraisal worth, so he needs to pay me back the appraised price. He's not hurting for money, he makes $800K a year. I make $200K so I'm not asking him to as if I don't have money, it's the principle since his son broke it he should pay the appraised price. He sent me the money but was upset saying I'm in a hole since I got it for so much cheaper. Comment 1. Yes, YTA. Avid shopper, not a biz. If I ever sold it and appraised value aren't the same as for sale, or what one could get for it. Can't go wrong treating friends and family like you'd want to be treated, especially a nice kid who took it badly. As far as principles go, this feels like turning a kid's accident into a money grab. Comment 2. No, NTA. The repayment is not to reimburse you what you spent. Repaying what you spent returns you to the state you were in before you bought the vase. But that's not what's needed here. What's needed here is to return you to the state you were in before his kid broke the vase. That means you need to replace the vase, and that means he has to pay you what it will cost to replace it. If you find a replacement for $40 or $400, then you should return the excess cash to him. But the only thing you know now is that the vase was worth $3,500, so that's what he has to give you. The fact that you both can afford this kind of expense means that the question is much more straightforward than it might otherwise be if $3,500 were fully out of his reach. Comment 3. Truly TA. What sort of person expects to make grossly overinflated profit from their partner, because that is what we are talking about. An appraisal is the estimated worth if you are able to sell it. Your partner should reconsider his relationship with you if this is how you treat them. Shameful. Story 2, not wanting my ex to add her new husband's name to my children's? My ex is getting married and has spoken to my children about changing their surnames to match her new surname. This conversation was had without my prior knowledge and in my experience coercive. Since our separation, we were not married. She has had several boyfriends, most of which have been introduced to our children. Our original agreement on separation was that we would notify each other upon any major changes to our kids' lives, new partners, living arrangements, etc. This worked well for the first time she had a new partner, but has not been followed up since. In fact, she moved in her husband, not husband at the time, obviously without telling me. And the kids felt guilty that they had not mentioned it when I found out. I did not tell my kids off for this, I just laughed it off and said that it was nice to not make they feel awkward. Brief introduction to the new husband. I know absolutely nothing about him. I've tried to engage him in conversation on many occasions. He just stuck to one-word answers and eager to get away from me as soon as possible. I didn't even know his surname until my ex approached me to add it to the kids' surnames via a double barrel. I was speechless, didn't give an immediate answer. She continued to tell me the kids are all for it. Rather than have an argument, I said I would think about it. I have absolutely no intention of letting my kids change their surnames to add his. I believe the kids have manipulated into thinking it's a great idea. I used to be manipulated during our relationship, and she still does to a point now, but I'm more aware now. If she splits up with her husband, she has a history. My kids will be stuck with a stupid surname. Am not a fan of hyphenated surnames, double barrel, 3.1. Also, the names are not unique. Quick background about myself. Since my separation, I've had joint custody of our children and have been in a relationship with my now wife nearly 7 years. My children have known her most of their lives and they think the world of her. She has a good relationship with my ex too. Despite having joint custody, I pay child support as mine and I'm suckered into paying more on occasion, various ploys of which I won't get into here. Anyway, I feel like I've wasted your time. Just thought writing this down might help me rationalize the issue in my own mind. Comment 1. Absolutely not. No. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, but I feel like this is something I would consult a real lawyer about. If she is manipulating your kids into thinking that changing their names, a part of their identity, who they are, is a good idea, what other strings is she pulling behind the stages? Is other types of parental alienation at play? NTA. Comment 2. NTA, they don't need to change their name and it's really weird for her to want to do this. Changing your legal name is kind of a pain. My sister did it as a minor and it caused issues. Happened in high school, the yearbook was messed up and she had issue with transcripts being sent to colleges. Do you have a custody agreement? Might be worth a call to your divorce lawyer to cover your bases. Comment 3. NTA. In Scotland, consent must be given by all who hold parental responsibility for any child under 16. No need to consult a solicitor unless she pushes to remove your PR. Just refuse to talk to her about it. You're not obliged to consider idiotic and unreasonable requests. If the children ask, just say they can make their own minds up when they're 16. Your ex is very much an asshole to even suggest this. Story 3, refusing to attend my best friend's wedding because they didn't accommodate for my daughter's disability. I, 32F, have a daughter, Lily, 7F, who was born with a congenital condition that requires her to be in a wheelchair. Lily is a bright, bubbly girl who doesn't let her disability dampen her spirit. My best friend, Jane, 31F, and I have been inseparable since high school. She's known Lily since birth and has always been supportive, or so I thought. A few months ago, Jane excitedly announced her wedding, set to take place in a historic but not so accessible venue. I was thrilled for her and assumed provisions would be made for Lily. I was even more elated when she asked me to be her maid of honor. As the wedding day approached, Jane shared the itinerary. I noticed there was no mention of any accommodations for guests with disabilities. When I approached Jane about it, she said that while she understood my concern, the venue couldn't make the necessary accommodations due to its historical status. She suggested I could leave Lily with a babysitter for the day. I was taken aback. I couldn't fathom leaving Lily behind, especially since she was excited about the wedding. The thought of telling her she couldn't attend because of her wheelchair broke my heart. After a lot of reflection, I told Jane that I wouldn't be able to attend or participate in her wedding if my daughter wasn't accommodated for. Jane was upset, mentioning how she dreamed of having me by her side on her big day. She felt I was putting her in an unfair position so close to the wedding. Our mutual friends are divided. Some feel Jane is being insensitive and should have considered Lily from the beginning. Others believe I'm overreacting and should respect Jane's choice of venue without making the wedding about my daughter's needs. Now, with the wedding just a week away and our friendship strained, I'm second-guessing my decision. Comment 1. Not here. I understand you don't want to leave your daughter behind, nothing wrong with that at all. And also, a wedding is a very personal thing to the couple and the venue is a massive part of it, so they pick the place that works for them, and as much as the child is the center of your world, it's not theirs. Talk it out as best you can and hopefully both sides can be okay, hold no grudges, and hopefully the friendship continues to flourish. Comment 2. Wheelchair user or not, I feel like everyone's leaving out the bigger issue that unless it's the literal child of one of the people getting married, it's very presumptuous and rude to assume or ask to plan an entire wedding venue around a 7-year-old who is no way related to the bride. Absolutely ludicrous to imagine. Emo. Edit. Finally found the comment where OP mentions Lily was specifically invited, so judgment changed to light because bride should have communicated no accessibility earlier, but I still stand by that it's mostly on mom for not checking and again expecting the whole venue to be planned around Lily. Comment 3. YTA. This day is not about you or your daughter. Your friend had a million things to plan and just overlooked this detail. I find it ridiculous that your child cannot stay with a sitter to let your friend have the day she had planned. She is 7. She will get over the disappointment if you stop making it a big deal. Story 4. Being late to pick up my boyfriend's mother at the airport? My boyfriend's mother went to see her relatives on the other side of the country. Her son couldn't pick her up from the airport due to work, so he asked me if I could and I said yes. She came in an early flight and would arrive at around 9 o'clock in the morning. It takes me about 30 minutes to get to the airport from my place, so I plan to leave at 8:30 to get there just in time. My boyfriend sent me gas and parking money and warned me that his mother, while being a sweet old lady, does not like to wait and will leave at the very first moment if she doesn't see anyone. He advised to be at the airport 1 hour before. I found that ludicrous and decided to stick with my plan because I wasn't thrilled about the idea of waiting at the airport. Cue the drama. First, I couldn't get out of my parking space because I was boxed in. That took about 5 minutes from my time. There was traffic along the highway due to a rollover, another extra 15 minutes, and finally my boyfriend's mother airplane arrived 20 minutes early. God. I arrived at the airport at 9:20, but by that time my boyfriend's mother had taken a taxi and went home. I called her to apologize, but she only said not to worry because I had better things to do. I just didn't listen to my boyfriend's advice. My boyfriend is angry with me because her mother paid $75 for taxi. I offered to pay her back, but he said because it wasn't about the fare but because his mother is old and wanted someone who he can trust to help her. Ouch. I don't think the situation merits such drama. I mean, it was just 20 minutes and the old lady could have waited a bit. Comment 1. YTA. Your BF explained quite succinctly why you needed to be at the airport an hour early. And instead of giving what he said any validity, you decided to do what you wanted for the least amount of bother to you. And look how that worked out. Additionally, WHO goes to the airport and leaves only just enough time to get there without accounting for traffic or delays of any kind. Comment 2. YTA. Your BF was very specific with his request to be early and why. Planes arrive early all the time and traffic happens. You should have planned accordingly. You owe both the mother and the BF sincere apologies. Also, share this post with BF so he can see how you refer to his mother. Comment 3. YTA, while you didn't necessarily need to be there an hour early, you could have split the difference and left an hour early, giving yourself 30 minutes at the airport. That would easily have accounted for traffic delays and any further parking delays at the airport. Given that your boyfriend was giving you gas and parking money, you really owed it to him to listen to what he said about his mom and make sure you arrived with some time to spare. Extra story, because I asked my fiancé to get me another ring? My boyfriend of 5 years, M26, and I, F25, got engaged a few days ago. Now, we have been dating a long time and we have had conversations about getting married, etc., so this was not out of the blue. In fact, I have shown him several times the type of ring I like and would want when we got engaged. Well, he proposed with a ring that was the complete opposite of what I want. Think simple minimalist vs very big and gaudy. I obviously said yes, but was a bit visibly taken aback by the ring. I tried to keep my composure since our families were present. The next day, I asked him if we could get me another ring that was more to my liking since I would be the one wearing it. He said no, that the ring comes from his family and so he gets to decide how it looks. He also said that since his family is very comfortable, think one Europe trip a year type of rich, it shouldn't look like he skimped on the ring for his fiancée. Somehow both our parents also caught wind of this issue, and while my parents said we could compromise, his are saying that we have a standard to uphold and we cannot look poor in front of their peers just because I have simpler tastes. I've also proposed I get a simpler ring that I wear every day in my normal routine, and wear his gaudy rocks whenever we visit his family. He has shut down that idea as well. I understand that it is just a piece of jewelry, but I also don't know why we can't get another that I can wear in my normal routine. Comment 1. NTA. Stick his ring on a necklace and refuse to put it on your finger as you keep getting it damaged. I would consider whether you want to marry someone who won't listen to what you want to wear on your body for the rest of your life. What else is he going to demand and not listen to your opinion on? Marriage is a partnership, not ownership papers.